Hey everybody, welcome back. Another episode of Real Estate Life. My name is Rob Edgerley. I'm your host today, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, my lovely wife, Nadra Edgerley. Nadra and I are both co-CEOs of Dale Carnegie, Maine, as well as I am the founder and CEO of Maine Life Real Estate, brokered by eXp Realty. And with my other hat on, I get to partner with Nadra. And Nadra, say hello.
Hi, how are you? It's great to be here. I'm excited.
And I know you're so far away. She's on the other part of the house as we do this interview. And we just wanted to, in this episode, we thought we'd talk a little bit about something that we talked with the local women's counselor realtors here. We had what they called a hit and run. It was like 2 weeks in a row, or I guess we split up for a week for half an hour, where we talked about one of our Dale Carnegie modules called Disagree Agreeably. And it's something that's really relevant to real estate. I think people got a lot out of it. And but first, Nadra, you have some really exciting news.
Yes, I am now an official Dale Carnegie trainer. I just received my endorsement for that. So I'm very excited to be entering into the training world of Dale Carnegie, just like you, following in good footsteps.
Well, we're really excited. I'm excited that you'll be able to train as well. And you're an awesome trainer. So now you've gone through the official, the rigorous challenges of becoming a Dale Carnegie trainer, which takes a couple of years. So it's no small feat, and congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I've been working on it for a very long time. It feels like it's been, a good 2 years to get to this point.
Yeah, and we kicked it right off yesterday, right into the Women's Council of Realtors meeting, and you led that. So that was pretty well received.
Absolutely. I mean, Disagree Agreeably is it's a technique that can help us keep the lines of communication open in every scenario, whether it's real estate, life, any kind of business, coworkers. I mean, if you can really understand and get understand the why behind it, and then really practice this technique, it can keep the lines of communication open, and you never have to go back to having that awkward, like, oh, I probably shouldn't say anything feeling.
Yeah, just to put some context around this for people that are watching, as real estate agents, many times we're dealing with challenging people. It could be clients, it could be fellow our co-brokes, agents, other agents on our team, people that we work with on our team, appraisers. Many times where we are dealing with people, we've actually called this class in other presentations, how to deal with people that tick you off.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of hot button topics out there, triggers that can really make us feel upset, people that we're dealing with. And I'm thinking just recently of an agent that was dealing with a really tough client and wasn't getting the response back that they needed from their clients. And another agent in our office battled probably all last week with trying to get a response from an agent. Mm-hmm. And those are opportunities for people that just get to really to lash out. Other situations is we have opinions, that we all have opinions, and many times an appraiser has an opinion and we might not agree with that. And these are situations where we have to disagree with people, but as agents, we have to cooperate with each other too. So talk a little bit about opinions and what happens when we disagree with people.
Well, I think when you have a strong opinion, I think it can come off as you're extremely passionate. And then when you give that opinion so passionately and somebody doesn't necessarily agree with that opinion, it sets everyone up to go, oh, I probably shouldn't say anything. They're pretty passionate. This isn't going to go well. If you take just a minute before giving that opinion to kind of think about why you think it, think about some good evidence, what you can do is really, instead of kind of putting somebody off that might disagree with you, first you can give them that evidence and then state your opinion. And you've had some chance now to sort of cool down or or give it in a softer manner or warmer manner, so that that warmth can come across, so you can actually be able to take in another person's opinion, or that other person feels like, okay, I can tell them my opinion too, because they're not going to like blow up at me, right? So it's all in how you think about presenting your ideas.
Right. So, I guess, for example,
Yeah.
right, I was faced a while back with a situation where the appraisal came in lower, and I didn't agree with that appraiser. And our first instinct is to say, WTF, and call the appraiser up and start yelling.
Yeah, don't do that.
At them. And I think being a Dale Carnegie trainer myself, we can't really do that. And so, we can't always control our first thought, but we can control our second thought. And our second thought should be to actually think instead of blurting out our opinion, and actually thinking about why we feel the way we feel. And then critical piece of it is what do I have to back up my own opinion? I might feel differently and have my opinion, but why don't I go ahead and why do I feel that way? And so that's evidence, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's evidence. And I just think too, like, we need to give ourselves a chance to be able to think about how we feel. We need to know, do we have good evidence to support our opinion, and give yourself that little time to kind of collect. I always think that the most interesting thing about the whole formula of disagree agreeably is not just the being able to give your evidence, but also an opportunity to let people be heard. So one of the things that's most important about a very strong opinion is that we just want to be heard. Everyone just wants to know that we're appreciated and that our opinions matter. And even if they're not the same opinion, that we still are being valued for who we are. Because opinions come from sometimes a very deep place. They come from a historical place. They come from a situational place, depending on where you are in your life. And so the really strong, passionate opinions, those are the opinions that I think can end up they can come across sort of difficult, like you're a difficult person to talk to, but really it's just because it's kind of it's deep in who you are. It doesn't mean that you won't necessarily agree with people, or you don't, or you can't listen to any other opinions, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, the appraiser may have a very good reason in this scenario, right, for feeling that way about their opinion of value, and I may have some evidence to back up my own opinion. And I think at the end of the day, it's not about trying. It's not about who. It's about how we can move along and have a win-win situation. So, in our real estate world, for real estate agents watching, that might be our own opinion of value, something backed up by comparative market analysis or comps. We can print off comps from the MLS, and we can draw correlations between our property that we have listed, our subject property, and the comparables, and then we can present that evidence back to an appraiser to make our case, and we can do it in a way that's positive. But one thing that, as I use the word that I'm about to say we shouldn't use, is what usually happens is we'll say, well, I appreciate your opinion, right? Or it's an interesting point of view, and that's what we call a cushion. And a cushion we use right before we're about to state something that's opposite from our own opinion. And what happens many times is we'll say, well, I appreciate your opinion, but I feel this way. So we want to try to get the but out of our language. Use a word like and, because and is much more additive, and means we can keep the conversation going. But usually means, hey, I hear what you're saying, and I don't believe any of it. Here's the real truth right here.
Right.
So we take but out of there, and when I add in a cushion, it's an interesting point of view. I'm allowing myself time to think about what I'm going to say.
Right.
And I'm thinking about what evidence. So, Mr. Appraiser, Ms. Appraiser, I appreciate your opinion of value here. It's interesting. And here's some evidence that I pulled. Here's some comparables I pulled from the MLS. And when I look at this, it's starting to show that this house should be priced in this range. Therefore, I believe that we may want to re-look at the value and come up with a different value. And if I do that, what's the appraiser going to do? Right? The
Well,
appraiser's
you're definitely going to get, yeah, you're definitely going to get them more on your side and be able to actually have a dialogue and actually have a communication back and forth about that value, versus if you just went back to that appraiser and says, what is this? Like, this is crazy. You know, where did you come up with that? Right? You're immediately going to put them off. They're going to be like, look, you know, it is what it is. Deal with it. Right? So when you present it in a different way and you present that evidence first, what you're really doing is like, all right, here's some of my evidence, and it triggers them to go, okay, well, here's my evidence. And so now we're sharing evidence. We're not sharing opinions. And that's I think the real gold in this.
Yeah, it's collaborative, right? We can come up with the answer ourselves. So if we're talking to, you know, for instance, if we're working with another agent, and, you know, certainly when we're back and forth on negotiations, sometimes I've had that situation where we've presented our offer or a counter offer, and I've literally had an agent say, you know, are you serious? Or, you know, send me the laugh emoji. That's really not a great thing to do in text, but
no.
So
sarcasm doesn't have any place in a negotiation.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And, you know, first response again is wanting to get angry, and I want to just tell you how I think it is. And it's hard to not do that. And if we can pause for a moment, and then we have a different opinion of value in this case, right? This also works, by the way, on if, you know, your opinion of whether or not you should show the property before everybody's seen it, or whether you should, you know, price things a certain way. But if I have evidence to that differs, then I can use that evidence first and quote it and show you that before I state my opinion. When we do that first, evidence before opinion, it is so much stronger, and it's going to keep the conversation going. And really, as real estate agents, that's what we have to do, right?
Yeah, you can have a win-win situation and still have people not totally sharing the same opinion and agree. People can walk away and go and still feel good, still feel like the relationship is strong. Even though you're like, yeah, I don't think that's not quite how I feel, but at least I do understand where they're coming from. So even just having that respect, right? Leaving the conversation with some respect, like, okay, I can see where they're coming from on that. You know, nobody's trying to like hurt somebody else, right? You're not trying to like ruin the deal. Everyone wants to see the deal go through. It's your livelihood. It's your, you know, it's your life. Like, and so trying to always give them that perspective, I think, is what is really great in presenting evidence first.
Yeah. So I guess the key lesson there is when we're dealing with each other, with team members, and just the whole political scene that we just had. I mean, you think about how many opportunities there were to disagree with other people. Many times we just won't say anything because we don't want to start a fight.
Right.
And there's a lot of situations, you know, us as agents, we actually do need to represent a difference of opinion. Our clients might feel differently about value or about how something's done. If we state it more professionally, collaboratively, and keep the conversation going, we're going to be more professional and actually get our clients what they need. I was just thinking that, you know, just to get really real here. I mean, do we ever have disagreements at home with? I won't talk about you and I.
No,
this is helpful as well.
Yes,
but with our kids,
we don't ever disagree about anything.
How about with kids? How about with kids?
Yeah, I mean, I think it works with the kids too. You know, they may not want to go to school, right? And we need to give them a good reason to get going in the morning, and give them, you know, also a fine reputation to live up to, and that we're counting on them and they have responsibilities, right? So there's a lot of reasons that we can give them instead of just like, get up, let's go, right? So yes, it helps in all aspects of life. Yeah. Are we perfect at it? No, you know, we're not perfect at it. It's something you work at all the time, and you have to remind yourself to practice. Right. And we practice it.
Yeah, I would say, you know, Dale Carnegie principles we're relying on those a lot as agents. and I'm trying to rely on them even more with kids. And that's not always the easiest thing to do. It's probably the most challenging, is to remember that even though I'll make them do it, they'll be compliant though. But if I really want cooperation, I'm gonna have to really win them to my way of thinking. And if I can present some evidence to why they should do what I want them to do, it's going to be a lot easier. So
yeah, absolutely.
In all different areas. So, so I guess just to wrap up Disagree Agreeably here, if you want to disagree agreeably, you want to keep relationships moving forward, you need to think about a couple of things first. One, before you state your opinion, you want to think first, right? And then two, before you state anything, use a cushion, which doesn't disagree, doesn't agree, provides you some time to think. It's a very neutral statement, but most importantly, as you said, Nadra, make sure that they know that you listened to them. And then we stay away from words like but or however, and use a word like and instead, before we then present our evidence first and then our opinion.
Right.
That's really that in a nutshell. So talk a little bit about Dale Carnegie before we go, just because we've got some classes coming up that we'd like to let people know about.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some great our classes are all in really training people in their communication, their leadership, sales training, building up your people skills, right? We're using those human relations skills to create better relationships. And we have some great classes coming up. We have our Dale Carnegie course, the Skills for Success. And that particular course is is like the foundation of it all. It really has all those components. It has greater self-confidence, people skills, communication, leadership. And one of the most important things that we do at Dale Carnegie is we really talk about stress management. Is if your stress isn't under control, how can you grow in those other areas? So we really look at like, how do we become more resilient? How do we become, shake off the nerves, those kind of things. And so we really learn about those 5 drivers. And we have a course coming up on March 23rd. The Dale Carnegie course will be taught in Portland and on March 23rd. So that one's coming up. We also have a sales support course coming up in April. And then let's see what else we have. We have some just great workshops. So check out our website, because there's some great workshops going on too that are just a little shorter, like 1-2 hour things. I think we have one on storytelling coming up. And so if you go to the website, maine.dalecarnegie.com, you can see the courses that we have. We also have live online training as well. So there's a lot to offer out there.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you'd like to master more of these skills, then definitely plug into maine.dalecarnegie.com. Check it out. We'll have a link here. And, as when we talk about real estate life, there's definitely no better opportunity to use some of the principles that Dale Carnegie teaches. And we have opportunities all the time, building relationships, keeping relationships going, strengthening them, dealing with stress. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited. Look, the sun's coming out now. My light is
yeah. We love it.
Hey, what's your if people want to check you out online, what's your Instagram handle?
So I have a few. So I am also a photographer. So you can find my photography at Nadra Photography. You can find us at Dale Carnegie, Maine.Dale.Carnegie. That's our Instagram. And I also do some photography business coaching, and that is confident.creatives. If you want to find us on Instagram and just kind of search that. I'm on Facebook too. So lots of different ways to find me.
All right, cool. All right, and you can find me on Instagram at Rob Edgerley, and I'm also at Real Estate Life with Rob Edgerley on Facebook. And that's it. That's our episode. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks, Nad. Appreciate it. And thanks everybody. We'll see you next time. Hope you guys have a great day.